Now look, I do not like saying this about Arsenal, but I have no choice. That truly was a delectable medley of footballing splendour. What a game that was at St James's Park. It was full of everything. Aggression, tenacity, spirit, true fight. It was a game straight out of the 90s. The rivalry, the intensity. It really was truly amazing. Now last night, I went to see Oasis. I took my kids to see Oasis, can you believe? I took a 6-year-old, and watching that game before we went into the gig, it was truly astonishing. I genuinely loved every moment of it. It was classic. It was truly great. And the result is quite simply massive. The result, it could be the biggest statement result of the season. It is a result that we could look back upon and say that is where the season changed. You know quite how big it is. Do you know how to demonstrate quite how big that result was for Arsenal? Imagine if they hadn't got it. Like, obviously, 7 minutes before the end, they hadn't got it. And think about what we were saying. We were saying if Arsenal were really about this life, they would have won at St James's Park. If Arsenal were really in the hunt for the title, they would have won at St James's Park. If Arsenal were really capable of dethroning Liverpool, they would have witnessed Liverpool lose the previous 24 hours and gone to St James's Park and got a victory. You don't have to wipe the floor with them. You don't have to win 5-0. But somehow, regardless of the ebb and flow of the game, you need to prize the 3 points out of the clutches of Newcastle United, and that is exactly what Arsenal did. It was simply magnificent from them. It was a bold statement, and it's exactly what they needed to do. There was no cowardice from Mikel Arteta. Arsenal were full of desire. They were full of aggression. They were full of hunger. You look at the way that they reacted, even after scoring, it was always on the front foot. It was always going for the jugular. It was always of the opinion that 1 point was never enough. And it demonstrated the intent of this Arsenal side to win the league. It was never, ever about 1 point. They were always going for it. And do you know what? When you think about what this result means, I think it is just cataclysmic. I think it is absolutely enormous, because it's a result that I don't believe is about the points. Let me qualify that, because obviously every result is about the 3 points. But I feel like this result is so much bigger than the 3 points. Arsenal accrue 3 points, great. But what else did Arsenal do? What else did Arsenal do in the title race? What else did Arsenal do? What signals did Arsenal put out about their pursuit of the title? About who they are? About the minerals within them? About what noise they want to make? About what message they want to send to Pep Guardiola? About what message they want to send to Arne Slot? Arsenal told the world that they are about this life. Arsenal told the world that they will fight until the bitter end. And the statement that they have made is huge. Going for the jugular. And crucially, this is even more important, going for the jugular when you actually jeopardise the point. It's something that I don't think naturally comes to Mikel Arteta, and maybe he's evolved, maybe this is something that he's learned recently. I feel like Mikel Arteta's intention is to do his best to not lose games. I feel like he's gone into games, and the word that I've used under normal circumstances is cowardly. And it's not a word that I like to use because it's a very emotive word, but I have labelled him cowardly in some of his approaches. I felt the team selection at Liverpool, for example, was cowardly. I felt like the approach in the game against Man City at various points was cowardly. You know, not picking the best team for the first 45 minutes, for example. I felt like it was cowardly. Not here. Not here. Credit where it is due to Mikel Arteta. I think if you want to trace the win, Gabriel will obviously get the headlines and most certainly deserves them. Mikel Arteta won the game. And I've been very scathing about Mikel Arteta, but it is important that we do our due diligence and we give credit where it is due. Arsenal forced the win. They forced the win by being brave, and they've gone out and they've tried to claim a title. You know, when you are the challenger to a title, the way that you win it isn't by not losing it. You have to go and you have to make statement wins. You have to go and you have to seize a title. You have to prize a title out of the clutches of the existing champions. And Mikel Arteta has adopted that sort of philosophy. Because that result that we saw at St James's Park, that is a kind of result that winners get. It's also the kind of result that champions get. It really was. You look at the performances, think about what Declan Rice did in that game. The energy, the enthusiasm, the determination, the never say die attitude. It was brilliant. And you also have to remember everything that occurred. It occurred in a stadium where Arsenal have a terrible record, pitiful record. If you're a Man United, not them. If you're a Man City fan and you're worried about Arsenal potentially finishing above you, winning the league, you're looking at St James's Park as a potential banana skin. If you're a Liverpool fan, and obviously Liverpool, they witnessed their team drop points at Selhurst Park, they would have been looking at the fixture at St James's Park, and they would think maybe maybe we get away with it. Because it's such a bad place for Arsenal to go. You know, they've lost there. They lost three occasions. So it really is a bad place for them to go. And that kind of result, it felt like a result that rewarded their sort of relentless attacking performance. Think about the first half. All those stinging shots from Eze. You know, Nick Pope was brilliant. I mean, he undone his good work, didn't he? But he was sensational in that first 45 minutes. Arsenal were brilliant as well. They went in at half-time, 1-0 down. You're like, how? They had all the game. I saw a stat at half-time. 22 touches in the opposition box to 5, but they're losing 1-0. And you're like, it's going to be the same old Arsenal. You know, Arsenal fans are going to go out on social media. They're going to say how unlucky they were, how well they played. But ultimately, they got a 96-minute winner. And that will resonate for Arsenal fans. And it will resonate for the Football League. In fact, it's one of those results that will resonate across Europe. It was such a big result. Everybody that's taking note of Arsenal, see, Arsenal are a Champions League team. European sides are aware of what they're doing. European sides will have eyes on Arsenal's form in the Premier League. It's such a big result. It's the sort of result that genuinely sends North London into raptures, and any other fan base that is thinking of winning the league, presumably here in the city of Manchester and the city of Liverpool, they're gutted. They are truly gutted. And you could see from the reaction of the away end what it meant. It went bonkers. The camera panned, you know, a million miles in the sky, aren't they? Camera panned to the fans in the away end. And Arsenal support sometimes can be a little bit flat. They went potty. And fair play to them. They went bonkers. Heard them doing it. You know, that set piece again, ole, ole. They were loud up there. They were loud. And I think they knew, the travelling support would have known that a win there was so important. There's no value in a draw to Arsenal because of stuttering performances here and there. Man City, Liverpool is the ones I'm thinking of, obviously. There's no value in a draw. I also believe that the title race this season is going to be so difficult. It's going to be such a serious points tally. I think Liverpool will go on to win the next 5-6 games. I think Arsenal might match it. So the points tally, there's no value in a draw. You're better off losing one here and there and never drawing, because that is a kind of points tally that you're going to need to accrue. You're going to need to hit in excess of 90 points. And Arsenal's fans know that, which is why they were so desperate for the victory. 84th minute. They fought until the bitter end. They got their equaliser in the 84th minute. Just think about what that means. Like, that is the latest that Arsenal have been trailing a game that they have gone on to win since 2013. 2013. So what are we understanding here? Think about what that stat tells us. By the way, the geezer that got the winner that day against Norwich was Mikel Arteta. But it's over a decade ago that Arsenal have been losing a game that late and have gone on to win it. Truly, truly brilliant. So what does it tell us about it? What does it mean? What's the point of this? Let's understand it. Resilient. Never say die. Borrowing or emulating what Liverpool have done. And that is why I believe that this title race is going to go huge points tally. Huge. Like, I think Arsenal could easily hit 90 points and not win the league. That's how serious I think this points tally is going to go. So Arsenal, though, they have gone out and they have done something huge. Like, not settling for a point. It's just massive. Like, you know when the geezer comes out and he does the board and that showed 8 minutes? The camera then went to the Arsenal fans. Arsenal fans have gone mad, 8 minutes. You know, you saw the reaction to the goal. Go again. There is a real change here. Because obviously Arsenal got panned, didn't they, for getting an equaliser and not necessarily going for the win. I wonder if there has been a slight evolution even in the last 7 days. I wonder if Mikel Arteta has not been affected. It's not the right term. What do you think? Like, not affected by the criticism, because I think he's bigger than that and stronger than that. But we can all learn things, can't we, from one another? If somebody suggests that it isn't happening, or maybe you learn from yourself, from your own decision-making. He's a young manager. He's a learning manager. It's an evolution. Maybe he has realised that they just simply have to go for the jugular. And when the geezer put the 8 minutes up, you could see they believed that there was a lot of time. They believed that they could do it. They believed that there was ample time. And the result is just massive. Like, in the context of everything that happened the previous 24 hours as well. Liverpool getting the equaliser, then ultimately, because Eddie Nketiah. Oh, God, that's ironic, isn't it? Eddie Nketiah's goal. Actually, Eddie Nketiah scores a massive goal for Arsenal. Maybe for the first time since he scored a hat-trick at Sheffield United. But yeah, I mean, that should now inspire Arsenal. It should change Arsenal. Any doubters, even me, I still don't think Arsenal can win the league. can they? You know, suddenly a result like that, big result, big statement win, it is the kind of result that you come back and you reflect upon in May. Like anyone that's ever won the league, Arsenal fans watching this video, they will tell you where they won the league. They will know. And I don't mean literally where they won it. I don't mean when they went to Tottenham and lifted the league title. I don't mean that. There will be a moment in the season where something clicked, something changed. Chelsea, when we won it under Conte, ironically, we won it at Highbury when we got battered 3-0. You could trace Chelsea's victory in that season. We won the league, 92, 93 points. You could trace it back to getting battered at Arsenal. Ozil couldn't live with him. But that was the day that we won the league. A decade, 2 decades even before. Jose Mourinho. We won the league at Ewood Park in February. Aaron Mokoena broke Arjen Robben's leg. But we won the league that day, February. You can trace it. And I wonder, if Arsenal do win the league, for the record, I don't think they will. But if Arsenal do win the league, I think that they could genuinely come back to look at this result this weekend as well, factoring in what happened at Selhurst Park as to where they won it. Because they behave like champions. Champions exploit chances. Champions exploit mistakes. Champions give nothing away. Like Liverpool can now hear the hooves. Liverpool are ahead. They're running away with it. Suddenly they can hear galloping. And what could have been a 5-point lead is now a 2-point lead. It feels very different. Liverpool are now under pressure. They know, they need to know that if they slip up, Arsenal are waiting. It could inspire Liverpool this. Liverpool could think, okay, we need to learn. We need to learn from what happened. We need to learn from what happened here because we can't slip up again. We slip up once, you think Arsenal aren't going to make it count. You slip up again, and now you realise that they can. So I think it really is a massive weekend for Arsenal. And let's remember that Mikel Arteta got this right. Mikel Arteta deserves the credit. Mikel Arteta's attacking substitutions, they spoke to the desperation from Arsenal to win the game. And fair play to him, because I've been full of criticism. And you've also got to acknowledge, Declan Rice, he was just unreal. The way that Arteta used his substitutions, unreal. Declan Rice, it was a proper, like Brian Robson performance, wasn't it? Roy Keane, Frank Lampard, a proper performance from Declan Rice. You know, so good. And yeah, Arsenal's squad is unreal. And you know something that we just have to dispel before we end this video? Arsenal weren't lucky. I've constantly said that Liverpool were not lucky. I've constantly said that Liverpool fought to the bitter end and they deserve credit for fighting to the bitter end. They weren't lucky. You cannot accuse Mikel Arteta of having the handbrake on. They went for the result. They got the result that they went for. They risked it. There was jeopardy. That's what champions do. And also, they dominated that first half. They probably could have had a penalty, couldn't they? That Nick Pope on Gyökeres could easily have been a penalty. And like I say, they were so dominant that they did deserve the result. My voice is killing me. I saw Oasis. I took my 6-year-old to see Oasis. Can you believe it? It's unreal. Absolutely unreal. Biblical. What a game. What a day. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please do click subscribe. Please let me know what you think. And if you really enjoyed it, would you give it a like? Some hype points, wherever the hell they are. Hope you have a wonderful day. Ta-da.